What's your favorite part about living on the farm?
Animals.
The animals?
The animals?
Yeah.
Dawn, and this is Daryl. This is Broken Yoke Ranch.
In Thompson, Ohio, set on 128 acres. We came from a farm that was 13 acres, and then we leased a couple other properties, which was challenging because then we had animals on 3 properties, which meant 3 times the water, 3 times the feeding, 3 times the making sure the fences weren't being busted through. Being here on one property it makes life so much easier because we look out, we can see if anybody's out of their pen. We've got water set up so that we're not trucking it across town. And we're able to do things like rotational grazing that we weren't on the other property.
We have a herd of grass-fed only beef cows. We have a herd of goats that we use for weed control. We have chickens that are kind of dual purpose, eggs, and then also providing supply control for all of the cows. We have a few pair of oxen that are meant for working and pleasure, and then we also have some yaks that are in training for a few things. I have a passion for training animals. I've trained dogs, dolphins, and all different kinds of animals, and so when we got onto the farm, it was just kind of a natural thing to then want to train oxen. So we can use them for plowing and disking and all of those things. We also have fun. They go on parades. They pull wagons.
Our oxen are 2,200 pound puppy dogs, right? So we walk into the pasture and they come up and just sort of snuggle their head and neck around you. And while it might feel like you're about to get knocked over, they're just very loving and anxious to work. And so when we get them out, they're it's always entertaining. So we produce grass-fed, grass-finished beef. We do rotational grazing as much as possible, during the growing season, which is designed to intensively graze a small portion of land and then move the cows off of it onto the next section where they can not only consume a bunch of fresh grass, we can control how much of it they eat so that it's a more sustainable way of managing the grasses, but it also gives us an opportunity to do things like bring the chickens in behind them, and the chickens will go through and get rid of the worms and bugs and stuff like that, so cows aren't re-ingesting, and helps us with worm control, so we don't have to do that with a chemical. We're essentially trying to mimic the prairie ecosystem. I'm not one of those people that came into this because I had a passion for local food and was like, I need to make local food. I am an accidental farmer and learned all about the challenges of our food system after I bought a few chickens and did some research. And now as we've gotten into this and understand how the food system works, understand the health benefits of, for example, grass-fed and grass-finished cows, and the benefits of allowing a cow to make it to its 3rd or 4th year and the amount of nutrition that you can pack into that beef, all that stuff matters. I read somewhere the average meal that the American family makes travels 1,500 miles before it ends up on your plate. I recognize we're an anomaly, but there have been days where we can measure the distance our food travels in feet. I tell people all the time, challenge yourself to figure out how many miles your food travels and see how close you can get it.
We're gonna try. Ready? Ready?
Yes.
Woo! Woo!
Currently we have 3 kids and we'll soon have 4.
Mommy.
We also have our foster licenses. So the 3 that we currently have are adopted. Obviously, this one is not. But you know, when we moved to the farm and when we built the idea of Broken Yoke Ranch, part of that included the idea of foster and providing opportunities to other kids that, you know, haven't had the cards dealt to them the way they should.
We're able to do so many things here. A lot of times on the weekends we don't even leave the farm because there's so much for the kids to do here. Not only like having fun, they're working, they're learning.
We put in a massive sand pit for them, which allows them to sort of expand their creativity and do, you know, they've got a mud kitchen, a sand kitchen in there where they can sort of come up with little ideas of what they can make with their sand. And they've got excavators and stuff like that.
Right now, Austin, move it somewhere.
I grew up in Geauga County. I grew up in Bainbridge. Our first farm was in Auburn. As you drive around Geauga County, it's amazing to see the Western Reserve Land Conservancy signs popping up all over the county. It's incredibly difficult to find tracts of 80 to 150 acres, for example, which is sort of the range we were looking in, that are available, because what's happening is they're getting sold off in 20-acre parcels or 5-acre parcels, and, you know, turned into, you know, subdivisions, and so the work of the Land Conservancy, ensuring that land stays together so that, you know, future farmers can farm, is so important.
When we started, there was COVID, there was inflation. Despite us having good, healthy off-the-farm jobs, getting financing was super difficult.
Banks don't want to fund or finance land at all, right? If you're over like 20 acres, it's difficult. So we ended up finding a private investor that was willing to put it up for us initially.
A lot of times I look at you like you can't farm effectively in 2022, especially for regenerative agriculture. We're going to use all the sun and all the free grass. It's a little bit different. Yeah,
and you know, we ultimately, in order to do this, we had to finance the land and then the house and then throw a substantial amount of cash at it. If we were building a feedlot, they'd be like, okay, great, we can understand that. And you know, I think that's part of the problem. And frankly, if we weren't lucky enough to have the jobs, there's no way we could, as first generation farmers, do what we're doing. Broken Yoke Ranch is about our dream, right? I think a lot of what goes into that is reacquainting the public with where their food comes from, right? Have kids come and collect eggs out of the chicken coop, have them, you know, come and interact with cows, and pick a strawberry or pick some beans off the vine and take them home and cook them. We're the only culture in the world, in the history of the world, that can't pronounce what's in our food. And, you know, that resonates, right? I mean, even our kids, like, we drive by McDonald's and they want to stop and get McDonald's, and you're like, and, you know, we're trying to bring them back to understand the quality of good local food. But it doesn't stop at our family, right? We haven't raised our prices on beef. We're now cheaper than the grocery store. The goal here is not about, you know, maximizing profit. We, as well as anybody, know that a family of 4 can't afford the luxury of, you know, a lot of the locally produced beef, pork, chicken, whatever. And so hopefully we can contribute to that and still make the farm sustainable.